Hi, this is Dr. SaraSaddiqui, and I'm here for my monthly topic on behalf of the Elwood Public Library. Dr. SaraSaddiqui, and I'm here on behalf of the Elwood Public Library. And thank you so much to them for allowing me to discuss a topic every month. And if anyone has any suggestions for future topics, please contact the reference desk at the Elwood Public Library, and I'd be happy to do it. And these are tips for parents with pets and children, or if you're deciding whether to get a pet and some of the pros and cons that you should think about, and some of the benefits of having a pet in your home. I have no disclosures to identify. This is not medical advice. This is for informational purposes only. And of course, please contact your medical provider for specific issues and concerns. Thank you again to the Elwood Public Library, and thank you to Eric for editing and posting my videos. It is very much appreciated. And if you have any questions or comments, please contact the reference desk at the Elwood Public Library and let them know. I wanted to start off with a quote by Jane Goodall, who's a British anthropologist, very famous. "You cannot share your life with a dog or a cat and not know perfectly well that animals have personalities and minds and feelings." So just some tips for parents who have pets and children, or making a decision with regards to pets. So some things to consider when deciding on a pet if you don't have one already. So you want to make sure that the age and maturity of your child is such that they can kind of understand commands and know that they try not to get in the way of your pet, or try to make sure that they're aware that pets also have certain boundaries. You don't want to bother them too much when they're eating or sleeping, and make sure children are healthy and safe around pets, and teach your children when to approach pets, like during sleeping, eating, or playing. And children under 3 or 4 should never really be left alone, as they may not understand to be gentle with pets, and it may cause an interaction or a bite that you may not have considered or want. So when you choose a pet, you want to look for, again, the ages of your children or child, the habits of the household, making sure that you have the time involved or the people in the home to take care of your pet. And definitely which pet you decide to get does impact that as well. So certain pets, like dogs, do require people in the home and a lot of taking care of the animal, or as far as cats or hamsters, do not require so much hands-on, and they do require feeding and changing their litter boxes and things like that. So you do want to make sure that you assign responsibilities for those tasks. And when looking for an animal or a pet, you want to make sure that you know the energy level of the animal that you're acquiring, and there are differences. So a fish would be something that requires care, but not as much energy to take care of them. And again, caring for a pet, you want to make sure that as parents, you serve as role models. So you want to be gentle with the pet, and you want to make sure that you're teaching your child to be gentle, and teach children that they do need food and water and activity, along with lots of love and affection. And if a child is unable to care for the pet, or if that was the original reason for getting the pet, it is important that the adult must step in and intervene so that the pet is taken care of properly. And then teaching children to give them space when they're eating, drinking, or sleeping and playing. And there are some advantages for your children for pet ownership. So children raised with pets can show many benefits. They provide life lessons, like, for example, reproduction, birth, illnesses, accidents, death, and bereavement. They can develop responsibilities, behaviors in children that care for them. So they're developing responsibility and a connection to nature and respect for other living things. And there are certain physical and emotional needs that are met by pets. So snuggling with pets can reduce stress and also has been shown to reduce blood pressure. Playing with pets can keep your child active and healthy. Of course, having physical activity for the pet, and then also your child can get that too. There's a comfort in snuggling with pets, and also children tend to talk to their pets. They display love, loyalty, and affection, and also the experience of a loss of a pet, although hard and emotional, can impact them as well. And there are some studies that show that parents with animals and then bring babies into the home, sometimes those babies are less prone to respiratory infections and respiratory illnesses as much as children with no pets in the home. These are preliminary studies, and it may be because they're getting exposed to certain small amounts of things, and then they may be building immunity. So families that have pets and are introducing a baby, you may want to introduce your pet to the baby in a slow process, or a baby to the pet in a slow process. So you could take a small blanket or article of clothing from the hospital when the baby's still in the hospital, and bring home to your pet so that they can identify and kind of start sensing the scent. Never leave small children alone with pets, and as children are growing, teach them to be gentle, and always try to maintain your vaccines of your pets. It's important to maintain animal health as best as you can. And if your child has allergies and you're thinking about getting a pet, or you have a pet, there are certain animals that may not be as furry, or because usually it's the pet dander or the pet hairs that cause the allergies. And so there are certain animals that don't shed as much, that might be decreased, but even hypoallergenic animals can cause allergies. So just be wary of that. And try to avoid, if there's already a pet in the home and your child develops allergies or has allergies, then you want to avoid the pet sleeping with the child, and wash all bedding in hot water. And of course, wash hands thoroughly after touching or playing with the pet, and then wash your pet weekly in lukewarm water. That helps with allergies as well. And if you have a HEPA filter, use that. And vacuum and dust the home frequently to pick up any of that animal dander and hair and things like that. The better you do that, the least allergies that your child or you yourself may have symptoms from. And then, can pets cause illnesses? Yes, there are certain illnesses that are transmitted from pets to humans and children. And so that's why we always ask to wash hands, especially after handling the pet, and make sure your pet is updated on all vaccinations that they can get. But some pets do carry salmonella bacteria, which can cause like a severe diarrhea illness. For example, chicks or ducklings, certain reptiles like lizards, snakes, and turtles. And some amphibians like snakes and salamanders can transmit salmonella. It is really important, if you go to a petting zoo or one of those places where you can touch the animals, you want to always wash your hands prior to eating, and make sure that your child does that too. And avoid these pets for children under 5, which sometimes they do put their hands in their mouth prior to washing their hands, so that can transmit bacteria. And then cats can transmit toxoplasmosis from their feces. So we always suggest that pregnant women and young children should not be changing litter boxes, because it's something that can happen, and it causes inflammation of the lymph node areas and can cause a chronic illness. And I just wanted to touch upon when to kind of seek help for your child if they're not able to handle a animal correctly, or they're becoming rough or abusive with their animal instead of being gentle. This can be a sign of further emotional issues or behavioral issues, so you may want to get some help for your child and discuss that with your provider, and make sure that perhaps an animal would not be a good fit for your home. And overall, it is a family decision to include pets in the home. It can be a big responsibility for you and your child. Embrace the decision, but really explore all your options. Make sure that you discussed. And of course, if you can adopt from a shelter, that would be a good thing also. So that pretty much sums it up. Here are my references. And thank you. Please, again, if there's any questions or comments, please contact the Elwood Public Library and I would be happy to answer them. I hope this was helpful to you. And of course, I enjoy doing these talks very, very much. And thank you.